Okay, Perk, you were right. The best words in sports, Game 7. That's what Anthony Edwards and the Wolves forced yesterday after blowing out Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. The 45-point margin victory was the second largest win by a team facing elimination and the largest win versus a defending champion ever. Let's hear from Jamal Murray after the loss.
How difficult did Anthony Edwards make it for you when he was checking you?
I mean, who? For me?
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah, for you.
I mean, it was more about my elbow at that point. You know, every time, even some passes, you know, my arm. But it was more offensively for him. It wasn't him guarding me. He was scoring on the other end. Speaking from experience, Game 6, it's always the hardest. Everybody that team is gearing up to not get eliminated, and they bring that right energy, and they came to play today. So, just like how they punked us in Game 2, we punked them Game 3 and 4. They punked us again in Game 6. So now all that's behind us, and it's just come down to one game.
All right, Big Perk joining us. Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. Tim Legler back, and of course, Stephen A. S.A., I want to start with you here. So Game 7, Perk called it. Who's winning it?
I'm rolling with Minnesota. I mean, I'm going to go down with the ship. I picked them to win this series. I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon now, particularly after their performance in Game 6, which I didn't anticipate. I didn't expect that kind of romp. I wasn't comfortable with seeing the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, look the way that he looked, standing up, not sitting down on the bench, but standing up and staring down at the Minnesota Timberwolves and looking at their celebratory mood and what have you. You just got the impression this brother's going to be ready to roll come Game 7. And whether or not the others are going to be ready remains to be seen. But you anticipate that the reigning defending NBA champions, who had their backs against the wall losing the first 2 games on their home turf earlier in the series, are going to be ready for Game 7. But I'm going to go with Minnesota because of what Perk has been saying all along, the greatness of this young leader that is Anthony Edwards. It ain't just about his play. It's about his ability to lead. And the thing about him is that I think that he's the one person that has the potential. He's not the only person, of course, but he's the one person this weekend, I believe, can match what I know Jokic is going to bring to the equation in Game 7. I think he's going to answer the call. Now, whether or not that leads to Minnesota winning remains to be seen, even though I'm going to pick him. But I think Anthony Edwards is going to answer the call, and I'm going to bet on him and the Minnesota Timberwolves to win Game 7.
What you mean you go down with the ship? What you mean by that? You think the ship goes sink?
Yo, Perk.
You think the ship?
You might have got your rest and just woke up. I've been up. Don't get on my nerves, bro. Just answer the question. I'm too damn sleepy. I'm too damn sleepy to be answering questions from you, Perk.
I'm just saying. I just got off a red eye. I got straight off a red eye. I was in the studio with you last night.
I know you probably got your sleep. Go ahead.
Okay, listen. This ship ain't sinking, and I don't give a damn about Jokic having a look in his eyes because you know why? They got somebody on the other side of the floor that's going to look him dead in the eyes as well. They got the same look, and his name is Anthony Edwards. We know what he's going to do offensively, but what he has been doing defensively, especially to Jamal Murray in this series, has been really going unnoticed when it comes down to him containing him. We all know that Jamal Murray in the regular season is a good player. In the postseason, he has shown us that he has risen his game to an all-NBA player. Not in this series. He has not scored over 20 points in neither one of these games. Anthony Edwards has done an exceptional job on him, along with Jaden McDaniels. I believe that Karl-Anthony Towns is going to continue to get better in this series. I thought he did an exceptional job in his role last night, being a playmaker, picking and choosing when he wanted to be aggressive, dominating the offense, dominating the glass, and bringing back Mike Conley, right? That floor general, that leader of the team, that guy that's going to control the pace, the tempo when Anthony Edwards is in the game and when he's out the game. I got Minnesota winning this series in 7, and damn it, I'm riding with Anthony Edwards on this one.
All right, so you guys both picked Minnesota in 7 before the series started. I think looking at what happened in Game 6, I mean, I feel like almost like a damn fool saying that Denver's going to win this game because of what I just watched last night, what I watched in Game 2. I mean, it's really 2 games that I think I watched that I've been more shocked by than just about any playoff game I can remember watching. What happened to that team in Game 2 by being just completely suffocated by Minnesota defensively? And then what I saw again last night, a 50-point lead in an elimination game for the Denver Nuggets and an opportunity to move on to the conference finals, and they're down 50 in that game. Having said all that, though, I'm going with the Denver Nuggets because you guys make great points about Minnesota and Anthony Edwards, and I think Anthony Edwards is going to play great. There's certainly nobody in that locker room that comes off to me like somebody that's going to be scared of the lights, scared of the stage in a Game 7. That's not who Minnesota is. This isn't a whole bunch of young dudes. It's some young dudes, and it's some vets that have been through quite a bit in their careers, too, that are going to help stabilize some of the younger guys. And then Anthony Edwards, you can just tell, he doesn't care about that. He's got a look in his eye. He's going to be ready to go. But if you're asking me the most surefire bet, who's going to be great on Sunday across the board in multiple ways, it's Nikola Jokic, man. The guy's a 3-time MVP for a reason. I'm expecting a huge response out of Nikola Jokic. Now, it won't be enough if it's just him. If Jamal Murray has another one of these, 3 for 18, 4 for 18 games, I don't think Denver can survive that. Jamal Murray has to come out early, show his team he's got confidence, he's feeling good, makes a couple of shots in the first 5-6 minutes to let them know, like, I'm here tonight. I think that'll settle everybody down. But I'm betting on what I think is the most trusted force in basketball right now, and that's Nikola Jokic. I think he's going to be a monster in Game 7, and I'm going with the home team because that typically, historically, is where you roll in a Game 7. Home teams have a tremendous advantage in those situations.
New York, stand up. Jalen Brunson scored 44 points in the Knicks' Game 5 win over the Pacers. My goodness, making him the first player with a 5 40-point games over an 8-game span within a postseason since who? Stephen A? Michael Jordan in '93. He's just the 5th player overall to do so, joining Jordan, Bernard King, Kareem, and Jerry West. Now his Knicks look to close out the Pacers in Game 6. Here's Rick Carlisle on how his team can avoid elimination.
What do you have to tell your team differently heading into a game like that to either ignore it or shake it off as a player?
Play hard. That's what we got to do. That's what New York did in Game 5.
How hard do you want Ty to fight denials? Like when he gets off the ball and then he gets denied again, what's kind of the sweet spot for him for getting the ball back in his hands versus letting his teammates do what they need to do?
The sweet spot is go rebound the ball and, not take it out of the net, and things will be a lot different.
Ooh, someone's feeling the pressure. I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
He's not feeling pressure. He's just calling like he sees it. He's a champion. Rick Carlisle has coached the Dallas Mavericks to a championship. He knows what he's doing, and he knows when he's witnessed the team get punked. And that's what he saw in the last game. He knows that. It was panic. Listen, that's just one game. You lose, you win, whatever. But there are certain moments where you see panic setting in, where a team is just incredibly unsettled, and they got their heart snatched out of their chest. All of us know when we see that. That's the one game in this series where we saw that happen to the Indiana Pacers.
Yep. All right, Stephen A., let's get to the debate now. Is the Knicks-Pacers series going 7 games?
I don't think so. I think the New York Knicks, it's a nail-biter. I think it'll be a thriller. But I think the New York Knicks respond to the challenge, and they close out the series tonight. I think that Jalen Brunson will have a big game. They have no answer for Jalen Brunson. It's hard to stop him. I thought that when Tibbs made the adjustment of going small and taking the ball out of his hands so Indiana couldn't apply its ball pressure, it ultimately comes down to your defense getting settled in a half-court defensive set. And Indiana's defense has been woeful this entire season. And so because of that, I don't think that changes now, because the New York Knicks have figured out how to take that ball pressure away from Jalen Brunson to some degree and to alleviate some of the concerns that they were exercising by assisting and trying to wear him down. That combined with Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart and what they're capable of bringing to the table. Can't leave out Hartenstein and how phenomenal he's been, particularly that last game and what have you. I just really believe with the 3 days rest, Perk, and legs that the New York Knicks have, I think the New York Knicks close it out tonight in Indy.
Well, look, there's a lot of reason to believe that, and I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not going to be shocked one bit if the New York Knicks win this series in 6 games. I'm not going to be shocked, and if it gets to a 7th game, I don't know how Indiana, even with the Knicks playing on short rest in that situation, I don't know how Indiana goes into the Garden and gets a win the way they looked the other night, because they're going to walk out onto that court and they're going to feel that energy, and I think they're going to have some of the same reaction they had in that game. But I do give them a good chance of winning Game 6, primarily because you've had some guys be completely different players in that building than they have been in Madison Square Garden. And I think Indiana, I give them enough credit offensively that if they can secure the defensive glass, which is a big if against this team, if you're constantly giving up second shots and possessions are lasting 30 to 40 seconds, and then they're converting at the end of that, you're taking the ball to the net the way Rick Carlisle alluded to, that's a huge factor for a team that wants to outlet the basketball 20, 30 feet up the floor and get the ball over half court in 1 or 2 dribbles. When you have to defend that way, when it's all hands on deck, 5 guys below the foul line to rebound the ball, yeah, they're in trouble. So, look, they've got to clean that up. They got to do a better job. It's back to the basics. Make sure somebody's coming over your back on those rebounds. Don't give guys running lanes and freedom to go get that glass. If they can do that, I think Indiana offensively at home in that building is going to look different than they looked the other night, particularly Tyrese Halliburton, who I think is the single most important player in this game. He's had 2 games in this series where he absolutely has just not shown up. I haven't noticed him. And this is a guy that is an all-star. This is a guy that we love because he can score and facilitate. He's had 2 games in this series where his water was shut off. He's been different at home. I think Tyrese Halliburton looks in the mirror the way he did after Game 1 and has a big response. And I think the Pacers get a win in Game 6, force this thing to a Game 7 in the Garden, where I think their season will probably come to an end.
Molly.
Yeah.
Molly, are you there?
I'm here.
Can we get some? Can you get some order in the court? Can you get some order in the court? I mean, it's a lot of straddling the fence to me right now. It's a lot of ifs and I think, and I'm not getting a real answer of yes, this is going 7 or yes, it's closing out tonight. So I guess I got to take it in my own hands. This series is over tonight. Okay, the New York Knicks are going to win tonight. They're going to win Game 6, led by Big Body Brunson, because Tom Thibodeau has figured it out. When it comes down to putting Deuce McBride in the starting lineup, now all of a sudden, what are you going to do? Your go-to move for the Pacers, like Stephen A. said, was the full court pressure. Well, you can't do that no more. You could try to trap Jalen Brunson, but guess what? When you have Isaiah Hartenstein out there on the floor, being able to be a playmaker out of the trap and spray the ball to the corners or shoot that little left-handed floater, it's nothing else you could do. And so, again, we know that the Knicks had, 2 or 3 days of rest. And we seen this movie before last series. We thought that the Knicks were walking into a hostile environment after Tyrese Maxey put on the show in the Madison Square Garden in Game 5. Everybody was like, ain't no way in hell they going down to Philly. The Knicks are winning this game. Philly got the momentum. And what happened? You get punched in the mouth by Jalen Brunson and this culture of Tom Thibodeau. They're going to come out prepared. They know they have to complete the mission. They don't want to go to a Game 7, and they're pretty comfortable playing in Indiana.
Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here.